So every AFL draft we've witnessed so far throws a few curveballs. But 2025, I'm predicting there's not going to be just a curveball. It's going to be a whole toboggan's worth of snow. Because we've got a new rulebook for the first time ever in a long, long time. The AFL has introduced a new DVI system. It's also changed the bidding system from 20% to 10%. And there's a lot of little nuances that could quietly flip the script for some clubs, especially the clubs that require academy talent. Gold Coast, Brisbane, Sydney, and teams that are finding themselves with some top quality father-sons like Carlton. They find themselves sitting with maybe a hidden advantage no one's talking about. And the result will probably be more live pick swaps, more chaos on draft night, and list managers sweating bullets as they try and work out what they used to learn in Year 10 computer science. Let's take a look what may happen behind the scenes. G'day legends, I'm PommyInOz. Welcome to the channel. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because we break down everything. So today what we're doing is we're looking at 5 realistic potential in-play pick swaps. Why they might actually happen and what may happen in the draft. We'll show how these clubs will help work, the rules to their advantage, whether it's chasing academy talent, discounts, or whether it's loading up on future players, or maybe you're looking at some top NGAs next year. Before we get stuck in, though, like I said, if you love this kind of draft content, you're a nerd like me for football, subscribe to the channel and drop a comment of what provisional pick you'll make in the draft. So let's talk the rules, because this year there is fine print. So I just wanted to recap you on the nuances. So we have a thing called DVI. What DVI is draft value index. It's basically a point system for picks. So for argument's sake, pick 1 is 3,000, pick 2 is 2,481, and so on and so forth down the order. Now, this has changed from last year. They've recalculated how much that value is. And you've also got this wonderful nuance of what's called a bid match. It used to be 20%, so pick 1 would be 3,000 less 20%. Now it's less 10%. It's a nice classic discount. It's a rounding. So an example of this would be if you have a bid on pick 6, in reality that's worth 1,659 points, but you only pay 1,493 points. That's 10% off the total. It's like Costco's club card. Look at that. Clubs like Brisbane, Gold Coast traditionally are very used to this, and they will be again using it again. They're used to 20%, but now it's 10%. Now there's another nuance. 19 to 36, there is no 10%. It's just less 84. So 19 to 36, instead of 10%, they just subtract the flat 84. Now this works out a better value. So if a bid is on 28, that's 505 points. Now you'd pay 455 with 10% off, but with the AFL rules, you play 421. So that's 34 points deeper. So that is why people were smiling at that range. And then 37 onwards, points don't matter anymore. It's just simply your next pick. So what that means is if your bid came in at 42 and you held 59, 65 and 82, you just pay 59. Simple as that. No maths, no discount and no penalty. So what this means in reality is teams like Carlton, they'll be looking at Jack Ison and they can get him a little bit cheaper in that pick 28 as opposed to using the 10%. Boladensol, for example, they could save almost double if his bid isn't around the 30s. So that's the edge that smart clubs are playing with. If you're clever, you can have a flurry of picks late for players that you'll see outside of the 18. The ones to worry about are the ones in the first round. Now, let's look at some trade options. So the first one we're going to cover is one with North Melbourne and Gold Coast. So in this scenario, we're going to trade. North Melbourne are going to use pick 25, 590, 26, 561. And Gold Coast are going to trade 973, pick 15 and pick 52. Now, North Melbourne move up the order. That's why it works for them. They could target someone like Blake Threadgold or have their eyes on a top first-round talent. They still retain late capital as well, where there's a lot of value later on. But Gold Coast gain points and the DVI currency. And that really matters, particularly if they're looking at players like Jai Murray and Boladensol, where the DVI calculation changes. At the spot, they'll pay 421 points and match instead of 455. So basically, they'll pocket some more points. It's a classic both sides win deal. North go up the order, and looking at where their bids are, there's probably not too much point of taking the same type of player in the 20s. They go up a higher value. Now, pick 2 is Giant and the Brisbane Lions looking for points. So what we're proposing here is Brisbane trade 879, pick 17 and pick 51 to Essendon for 27 and 30. Now, why it works, Essendon jump into the first round. They get 3 first-rounders. They don't have to worry about Suede and El Akar, but they've gained 2 top 20 picks and can really maximise that value. Brisbane, they slide out of it, but they actually net 100 points more for their academy fund. So when Essendon's bid comes in expected around the 20s, they're in a real good position. So let's say if it's at pick 23, they pay 569 points. So that is really strong under the system. These save points could be the difference between deficit but also keeping a late first round selection. So real strong effort from them. The next one we're going to look at is Carlton versus West Coast, right? So Carlton would trade out 9 in this scenario. West Coast would trade 13 and 34. Now, why it works is West Coast get another crack at the top 10 to survive, to really surround that young core with more elite talent. So in this scenario, they could look at CDT, Dersma, and then look at another best mid available. Their economy bids probably fall in that 30s to almost 36, where it's just the next pick rule. So spending points is really irrelevant from them. They just need to hold picks. For Carlton, it's strategy, right? They're going to lose their first rounders for a Harry Dean bid. That's definitely going to become in the first 7. But that Jack Eisen, it gives them the extra points later on, meaning that they probably keep pick 43 intact, allowing them to have some selections to move up and have an extra player with Jack Eisen and Dean. There's a lot of talent in them late 30s. Now, trade scenario 4 is taking that acquired pick from West Coast and a future second tied to St Kilda and trading it with Melbourne. Now, why it works? West Coast can keep climbing. They would have 1, 2, and 7. So this would definitely put them in the purview of CDT, Will Dersma, Dyson Sharp, or Sam Cumming. Melbourne, people are linking them with Aidan Sherbert in this scenario. They can still probably get him a little bit later on. They gain a future pick as well, which is really good for their draft capital, and it makes both lists sustainable. West Coast for now and the Ds can spread their picks and still have 2 tasty picks, but have a real strong pick for trading next year. Trade 5 is easy. Carlton go for future points. So Carlton would use pick 11 and get the future first and pick 48 from Adelaide. Why it works, it's 4D chess. By flipping 11 for a future first, they now have 3 select strong first rounders for next year for Cody Walker. They've already locked away Harry Dean, Jack Eisen. They've got 43 and 48 live for draft night and the West Coast 34. Suddenly, Carlton now will definitely be able to either bundle 2 of them up after the Jack Eisen selection and rise up the ladder and get a better pick, or trade them more for future points. It's a win-win. Carlton bank a player now, and for tomorrow, Crows get Jevon Phillippo. So there you have it. 5 trades that not only balance the draft board, but also show how the point system can be manipulated and changed to fit your strategy. The key takeaways, though, remember, 1 and 18, you get a 10% discount. 19 and 36 is a flat 84-point deduction. So that roughly works out at 30 points more than 10% for them selections. And 37 onwards, it's just your next pick. So 37, whatever your next pick is, you burn it, you get it. So hopefully you get to see how Brisbane can extract some value, Carlton can protect their futures, Eagles and Essendon can improve their draft hand. So expect a chaotic draft night with live swaps, I think, to maximise every value. If you found this breakdown useful, please hit that like and subscribe button. Really helps the channel out. We're smashing it out. We'll be live tomorrow where you'll see all this in action with 6 other content creators as we recreate a live mock draft with trades. So until then, stay safe. Make sure you enjoy the content. Drop a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. And see you next time.
Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played